enjoyed Breaking Dawn. Let's talk about it. Fun fact, when I was a young teen, I had heard about the contents of this book, and I decided I wasn't possibly ready for that sort of content. So I waited until I felt more mature to read what's in this book. Yes, I'm referring to the spice. Can it even be considered spice? That's the kind of youth I was. What is with romance writers being strangely good at horror? Why do I feel like authors like Stephanie Meyer would thrive in the horror genre? Because the way she describes Bella's pregnancy, death, and transformation into becoming a vampire is like body horror. Yet again, I'm not quite sure how much I have to say about this book, which might be why the books that I enjoy the most could quite possibly end up being the shortest videos, because I just like them, so I don't have much to complain about. This is my second favorite book in the saga, and it's mainly because it's just a far more enjoyable read. It is explicitly stated in this novel that Bella was meant to be a vampire, and the way that Bella is written, the way that she's such a natural at being a vampire, tells us, yeah, Bella was meant to be a vampire. And because Bella is so enjoying being a vampire, I enjoy reading her journey of being a vampire. But also, Edward can be fully his vampire self with Bella because now he can't unintentionally hurt her very easily. And I really like that dynamic shift. Because again, that's like as much spice as we get, like that's as close to spice as we get in this novel. And as a giant Edward fan, as has been established, I enjoy that side of Edward. But I do think we need to talk about the spice. Because like I said, when I was a young teen, reading the Twilight Saga for the first time, and I learned about the adult content in this book, I was embarrassed. Me, a 14-year-old, 13-year-old reading that? Oh heavens! And reading it now, at the age that I'm at, I'm just like, oh, you sweet summer child. You had nothing to be worried about. The spice in this is so mild, I don't think it's a salsa at all. I think it's interesting that the reason I enjoy book one so much, Twilight itself, is because Bella is a character that you can project onto. She becomes ridiculously relatable in that way. And the reason that I enjoy Breaking Dawn so much is because Bella feels like she's a little bit more actualized as a character. It's not quite as easy to project onto her anymore. She's found herself, she's developed more of an identity, and yes, she is still self-insert wish fulfillment fantasy character, but I think it's interesting that the reason that I enjoy the first book and the last book so much is because of Bella and Edward, but duh. And then the reason that I don't enjoy New Moon and Eclipse is because either Edward's not there or because of Jacob. I don't know, that was just kind of a fascinating realization that I had about why I really enjoy the first and last books. Bella and Edward. It's almost like that's the whole point of this series, is it is a romance between Bella and Edward. And I enjoy the romance between Bella and Edward. One of the more unique aspects of this book is it's technically divided into 3 books. And the second book is from Jacob's perspective. I actually sort of enjoy Jacob's perspective. I enjoy the tonal shift. I enjoy the stylistic choices made to differentiate that this is Jacob's perspective. It's also through Jacob's perspective that I really start to ship Leah and Jacob. Obviously it doesn't come to fruition, and I do appreciate that there are platonic friendships between men and women in this book. And one of them that I enjoy the most is the one that develops between Jacob and Leah. I feel like it would have been more interesting to not have Jacob do what he does, and to have he and Leah enter into a relationship. Obviously, like, not right away, because Jacob needs to heal from his feelings for Bella. But I do think that that would have been a really fascinating angle to take the story in. But we don't get it. We get the stupid imprinting. I think everyone who's ever talked about the Twilight Saga talks about the concept of imprinting because, like, it's creepy. Because try as Stephenie Meyer might to make it innocuous, to make it innocent, especially in the beginning, if you imprint on a child, it's still glaringly apparent that the end goal of imprinting is, one, a romantic relationship, but two, it's pretty clear that a big theory on why they imprint at all is to propagate the species. And propagation requires a certain act. So, like, even though how Jacob feels about Renesmee in the beginning is, like, literally just protective older brother, it's not going to stay that way for long. And the whole time you read it, you're just reminded of that fact. I'm sorry, this is not innocuous. This is not sweet and innocent. This is, like, adjacent to some other things that aren't good. And I do believe that Jacob's character and general character arc and development would have been more fascinating had the choice of making Jacob and Leah even closer more fascinating. It would have been more interesting from a character development standpoint to have Jacob heal and develop through a friendship and partnership and teamwork with Leah. Because in terms of Jacob, his imprinting feels like a band-aid. I know that it's justified by saying that this is why Jacob and Bella have been so drawn toward each other, but I feel like that retroactively, at least in part, dismisses, yet again, Bella. The whole reason that I was into you was because I was into the eggs in your ovaries. I was just waiting for your husband to fertilize them. I'm so sorry. It takes away from the friendship, at least the friendship aspects, that genuinely developed during the moon between Bella and Jacob. Yes, I have ranted about Jacob a million times already, so you know how I feel about his side of their friendship. But yet again, Bella feels very removed. The whole reason Jacob stays in her life is because he imprints on her daughter. Even though Jacob wasn't this awful, nice guy, rhetorical device in this novel, he's still not the best character. The only thing that I'll say about Alice in this video is she's kind of not there throughout the book, and so she doesn't bother me much. Alice does feel like she lightens up in this novel. Again, it could simply be because she's not there for a lot of it, but yeah, that's all I have to say about Alice. Confession, I do have more to say about this book, but I feel that it would work better in a separate video, because this video is just my basic overall take about this book. I enjoy it. I don't enjoy it as much as Twilight because it's Twilight. There's so much more nostalgia there. It's the first book. But Breaking Dawn, I really enjoy it as well. It once again turns to the narrative of Edward and Bella and their romance. And as a hopeless romantic who's a giant fan of Book Edward, I'd forgotten how much of a fan I was of Edward in the books. I like this book. I like the series, but that's all that I have to say. I enjoyed it. I liked that Bella kind of came into herself really as a vampire. I guess I could talk about the shield thing for a little bit. Again, I do think that that's very wish fulfillment, again, where it's like, when you aren't in the place that you're meant to be in, you're very fish out of water, you're clumsy, you're klutzy, you're stumbling, you're not quite sure about yourself. And then Bella finds where she belongs and she gains confidence. She's the special girl, you know, that I think all of us at some point really desire to be special and different and to stand out and feel empowered by that. And that's what Bella experiences when she has her shield and her ability and she becomes really good at it. She's really good at being a vampire. She becomes fairly adept at the shield and it's really enjoyable. Plus it's a romance. And Jacob isn't nearly as annoying. He's still creepy and I don't like the solution that was made. Imprinting! But again, really enjoyable read. I just enjoyed my time. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun YouTuber stuff, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye! I didn't have a blue dress, and I refused to wear contact lenses. So instead, you get a green dress and red eyeshadow as an homage to newborn vampirism. So, why does that one take so many takes? So instead you get a green, wow, that's too far over. I really just need to delete this clip. Cause y'all are getting my toes and I don't give those away for free. Do I want to talk about the spice yet? For such a big book, there's no action sequence. Excuse me, just found her identity, blah, blah, blah. I always want to call her Leah, but it's Leah. Leah. I don't know where I was going with that sentence, I lost it. Hopefully that was right. Cool. I didn't think about this book at all. I didn't think about it at all. But what I was gonna say, nothing.